in South Florida, we're all affected by climate change. And it doesn't matter whether you're blue or red or purple or yellow or whatever color you want to be, it's going to happen, and people know and they feel it.
The key ingredients of this initiative is trainer level expertise in the practice. So all of the climate leaders in this room went through our rigorous train the trainer program, equity guided community engagement, impact tracking and analysis, and our theory is that this is going to lead to lasting change in these newsrooms.
So today was the culmination of an 11-month project with 9 newsrooms that applied to participate in our Climate Beacon Newsroom Initiative, which is really an initiative to test the theory that if we go deep with a set of newsrooms focused on climate solutions reporting, with one person in each newsroom doing the train the trainer, so becoming very conversant and professionalized in solutions journalism, and then providing them with trainings and support through coaching, one-on-one coaching over a period of months, without a strict requirement for a number of stories produced, but really focusing on transforming the climate coverage in the newsroom. And then from there, that solutions journalism would stick and spread in the newsroom from the climate desk to others' desks as well.
Part of what we wanted to do was try a lot of different experiments in a lot of different directions to try to find the way that we as a national news organization could start to do this in the way that we've been inspired by seeing some of the local news organizations be able to do it.
Solutions journalism has really given our newsroom a framework for examining critically the stories that we might otherwise have just reported on as, hey, someone just announced this great new thing, now what? And that's been really transformative for our enterprise reporting.
We try to leave the political characters out of it and just talk about the policies, and we'll talk about a range of things from more liberal policies to more conservative policies to things that aren't on the political spectrum at all. Doing all of that has been really successful in bringing in a bipartisan audience.
We're in the capital of California, but we have access to lawmakers, but we wanted the project to really focus on the people who were involved at the local level. So one reporter had told me, and it wasn't something that I prompted, she said, what was really interesting was I normally write a story about groundwater in California, and I might get the comment, you liberal rag. And she instead said the comments were much more neutral, and but they were also from people who were directly affected.
Building the community relationships was great. I mean, just for us to know the different people, and then for these different people to kind of be able to interact with each other and kind of build this small community was really great. I mean, there's a lot of stories, like I said, that probably wouldn't have happened besides us, but I think it also kind of put the pressure on other newsrooms to start talking about climate change more. So the newsroom that kind of was like, it's not really a priority to collaborate they actually are doing a lot more climate change reporting, I'm pretty sure because of us. And even like the Large Daily, I've been seeing them do a lot more stories about like energy and climate change that I never saw before.
I think the solutions model is just offering us like a new way to think about doing investigative work and writing about something that is really difficult to read about and to be writing about all the time.
I was looking specifically for a journalism framework that allowed us to connect across difference that we could bring into communities of color that we have underserved in Connecticut and Long Island. And what was really interesting about the work that we've been doing with solutions journalism then, and then also continuing through the education that we do of the next generation of storytellers, it is our interns that really are pushing us, and our fellows that are pushing us to work more with communities we have underserved, specifically with the communities of color, really bringing in a lens of social justice and challenging the narratives that mainstream media has had with marginalized communities.
What I really wanted to do with this is to really embed some behavior change inside of newsrooms to do more transformational work. So what are the habits that needed to be changed? How do we think about going from one place to another? What we asked them to do is create their own from-to statements. I want to move from here in the way that I'm covering climate to here.
The reason we chose to do solutions journalism workshops with non-journalists is first to explain what solutions journalism is, and really because we wanted to identify community journalists so they tell the stories in their communities. And what we found is that solutions journalism was a great way for people to trust the type of work that we do, because we're not only focusing on what's wrong in their community, but we're actually giving them tools so they can investigate about their proposals and the solutions.
I concentrated on microplastics. At the end of the day, even though it's not completely related to climate change, it kind of is. So it's a grave crisis that we're dealing with, and there are solutions that are being implemented, and many new researches that are coming out. The response was awesome. The second showing of the series, which lasted for the whole week, was the most seen show in all of South Florida, regardless of language.
I think using solutions journalism as a tool to talk about the many ways in which addressing climate is also addressing employment, is also addressing energy costs, are ways to reach communities that otherwise would not necessarily feel like climate is a space for them to put what is really a limited amount of energy and time that people have to address the issues that affect their lives.
You know, climate is just a difficult subject to cover overall, but it's becoming clearer and clearer to journalists that they can't just cover it from a problem frame, that people aren't listening anymore. If they really want to cover climate and cover it effectively, they're doing their audiences a disservice not to examine what's being done to solve the climate problem. There's been a lot of hope here. There's been a lot of statements that there are things we can do to get to the goals we've set to avoid the kind of really horrible things that people have been predicting for climate change.
And when we talk about community building, is to build relationships with people, not come in an extractive manner. And that has been part of what we have, it's been the essence of our work, is to create regenerative relationships, opportunities, and spaces for the people whose stories we tell.
And when we say regenerative, we mean like we recognize that journalism traditionally has been extractive. They extract people's pain and then create anxiety and fear. And instead, we want to honor people's stories and create hope.